Hiya, so my name is Dana and I run Beeston Premier Sports Massage and Pilates. So this video today is just an introduction into Pilates. So it may be that you're brand new to Pilates, you've never done it before, and you're about to sign up to a block or you're thinking about it. Or it could be you've done Pilates in the past but you've not done it with me before. So I just thought it'd be really important just to give you a bit of an introduction, more information about the background of Pilates, run through the principles of it, and also go through some of the fundamentals, so things that we do in every class. So Joseph Pilates was a person, he was German, and he had very poor health when he was young. So he started taking up lots of different types of exercise, from boxing, gymnastics, weightlifting, martial arts. He later went on to dabble with yoga as well. And he also rehabilitated the soldiers in World War One, and he was helping them in their hospital beds get back to a healthy state. So it was following this period in World War One that he actually came up with his 34 exercises, which he then called the Contrology method. And it was in 1960 that him and his wife Clara moved over to New York and opened up their studio. So it was when Joseph Pilates actually died in 1967, that's when it then became Pilates, because Clara, his wife, continued to teach his method but just renamed it Pilates after Joseph. So that's the background behind Pilates. Now, the reason that Joseph came up with these particular 34 exercises is because he felt, from his personal experience, improving posture and breathing actually improved overall health and well-being, and that was something that he actually lived for, and he was a living example of that. So Pilates is fantastic for lots of different reasons. I have lots of different people do Pilates for their own particular reasons. So reducing back pain is a big one. Physiotherapists do often recommend Pilates for back pain. Improving posture, because we're improving core strength. Also reducing stress and anxiety, because we really focus on the breath. We go through lateral breathing in Pilates, which I'll talk you through. And also just to get that mind-body connection, to actually work with that body and mind as one. So it's not just aimlessly doing exercises, it's actually truly activating those muscles, waking those deep core muscles up, which we then can utilise day to day, which also reduces risk of injury as well. So in Pilates we go through balance, work, we do strengthening work, we do mobilisation, we go through some stretching as well, but not too many stretches. We tend to hold some positions sometimes, but not very often, not as much as say yoga or something like that. It is an exercise-based qualification, and the qualification that I hold is the level 3 mat-based Pilates qualification. So it's not fitness Pilates, this is traditional classic Pilates, and we follow the Joseph Pilates Contrology method. Although a lot of Joseph's exercises were very, very advanced, and there are over 600 variations that we Pilates instructors have come up with. So we stick to the fundamentals and the principles, but some or most of the exercises are modified. So that's why Pilates is great for all levels. It's great for newbies, beginners, people who haven't done it for a while, people that are experiencing some pain. So that's why we send out the medical questionnaire. Doesn't matter how old you are, men and women can do it. In my classes, I'm only insured to have people over the age of 18. But Pilates is beneficial for all levels, all abilities. I always start from level 1 in my classes. So some weeks you might find you're finding it really difficult, you want to stay at a lower level. Some weeks you might really want to push yourself, and that's absolutely fine. So you always listen to your body. Although people do come to Pilates that experience some pain, don't work through pain. So I will always give modifications of any exercises that I feel were beneficial for you. So the 6 principles of Pilates, which we always stick to in every class, and these are words that I will spout out during classes on a regular basis. So we've got core, so we focus on the core, we focus on the centre, and we focus on you. We've got control. Every exercise is done with control. It's not about how many reps you can do or how fast you can do it. Concentration, really concentrating on that movement, what we're doing, why we're doing it. Precision. Flow, so we're keeping the movements really nice and mindful in the moment, trying to get them just right. And the last one, the most important one, is focus on breath. So this brings me on to the lateral breath. So in Pilates, we breathe all the way into the rib cage, and we always start standing in Pilates, or majority of the time we're standing, and we place our hands onto our rib cage. Now when we go through the thoracic or the lateral breath, we want to breathe into the sides and the back of the rib cage, and we do practice that at the beginning of every single class. It's really important. The reason Joseph Pilates came up with this method was because he believed that we breathe very shallowly into the chest every day, and that can actually promote stress and tension through the shoulders. So we really try and get our shoulder blades back and down the rib cage, stretch through the chest, and then as we exhale, we're actually engaging a deep core muscle. So I do refer to the transverse abdominis quite a lot in my Pilates sessions. And that is the long lean muscle which comes all the way from the bottom of the ribs all the way down to the front of the pelvis. That is a long lean muscle. It's the deepest core muscle on the front. And then we've got the multifidus on the back. So that is the long lean, deepest back muscle. They're the 2 muscles really in Pilates that we're focusing on quite a lot of the time. When we talk about core strength, it's mainly those muscles. They're the muscles that stabilise the spine and improve posture. So they come into the breath, which is why the breath is so important. We also focus on the glutes, so they're the bum muscles, so we strengthen the hips as well, and we do a little bit of shoulder work in Pilates. So they're the 6 principles. That's the lateral breath. So some of the fundamental parts of Pilates then would be the pelvic tilt. So I just talked to you about the pelvic floor as well. Part of the core is the pelvic floor. So men and women have pelvic floors. And basically they're there to reduce incontinence. So it's something that we definitely should be practicing. I know it's something we don't do as much as we should do. In Pilates, we definitely do bring the pelvic floor in. Okay, so the pelvic floor is a sling of muscles all the way from the back of the tailbone to the front of the pelvis. And if you imagine you're absolutely dying for a wee, you can't go, you're absolutely bursting, your bladder's really full, it's those muscles that you use to lift, to really squeeze and hold it in. That is engaging your pelvic floor. So when you do this, you may feel your glutes or your bum actually squeezes. That's okay because it's all connected. And what we try and do in Pilates, getting that mind-body connection, that control, nice and relaxed as we inhale into the chest. As we exhale, we want to lift and hold through that pelvic floor. So if you want to, we can practice that now. So if you want to place your hands onto your ribs, you can do it seated or standing. Try and drop those shoulder blades right back and down the rib cage. And when you're ready, let's go for a breath in. Filling up through the ribs. Feel the ribs expand. Hold at the top. Now, lift that pelvic floor and blow that air out. Relax the pelvic floor. Big breath in. Expand through the ribs. Hold at the top just for a moment. Now engage and lift that pelvic floor and exhale. All the way out. Let's do one more. So switch off that pelvic floor, big breath in. Now lift that pelvic floor, big squeeze and exhale. Great stuff. So that's your pelvic floor and how it works with the lateral breath. During the sessions, we don't have to breathe that intentionally, but I will advise you when to inhale and exhale. For the first couple of classes, don't worry about it too much. So the pelvic tilt then, we can do this standing, which I will show you. So we generally do start off in this position. And if you place your hands onto your pelvis, imagine you've got a triangle on the front of your pelvis. quite low down. So we've got the sacroiliac joint here, just the base of the spine, and we're just feeling just below it. So feet hip width apart, grounding through the toes and the heels. We're going to curl the tailbone right underneath. Imagine it facing the floor but tilting forward. So feel those glutes engage, and then push the tailbone all the way behind you. So you're going to get that arch in the lower back. And again, curl it all the way under, push it all the way behind. And what we're doing is we're mobilising and lengthening through that spine, and we're trying to find a neutral spine. So we want to try and find a midway point. So remember that triangle on the front. You want to get to a point where that triangle feels really nice and flat. And that is your neutral spine. So that's where we want to be when we start in Pilates. We're nicely lengthened, glutes are engaged. Then what we do, to come down to the mat, we do a roll down. So we always come to the edge of the mat. This is a great way of lengthening through the spine. Standing nice and tall, chest is lifted. Place the fingers on the neck. We're going to hook the chin to look at the mat. Bring the shoulders forwards. We're going for a C shape. Bring the belly button into the spine. Engage in that transverse abdominis. Arms are loose, and we're very slowly going to roll down one vertebrae at a time. So it's really steady. You might feel a little bit tight when you're doing this. And you just come down as far as you can. You don't have to touch the mat. Then you will roll yourself back up, one vertebrae at a time. Keep that spine long, pulling that belly button back in, and the head will come up last. So we'll roll the shoulders right back, standing tall, finding that neutral spine. Okay, so I'll just show you a couple of things on the mat. So I'll go through that pelvic tilt with you on the mat. We do this quite a bit. So we're going to lie with feet and knees hip width apart, arms by your sides. So we're going to curl the tailbone up, don't lift the bum up, just the tailbone. And then lie the tip of the tailbone all the way back onto the mat. Feel that lower back arch. So we're going to inhale to curl up, exhale to curl away. Keep those knees in line with your hips, really important. We do work on hip stability in Pilates. Keep everything controlled and precise. Great stuff. So if you come to a point now where you feel you can find that neutral spine in between those 2 points, the next thing I want to go through, the next fundamental part, is imprinting. So imprinting is a great way to engage that transverse abdominis and the multifidus on the back. So what imprinting means is to push the lower back down. When you do that, you'll feel these muscles harden. So we'll inhale relaxed. As we exhale, we're going to flatten that lower back. Inhale, relax. Exhale and flatten. Inhale, relax. On your next imprint, lift that pelvic floor. Get that full core engagement. Let's do one more. So inhale, relax. Exhale, imprint and flatten down. Great stuff. So we'll hook the knees into the chest. This is one of the recovery positions that we're going to. We can rock side to side as well. And another one that we do is the child's pose. This is a good one to do for one arm front or for inside lying. So you take the knees out, feet together, lengthen the hands all the way up the mat. So you may have seen this in yoga if you've done that before. And you're bringing the head and the chest all the way down. And then gently come out of that. So we generally spend all of our time on the mat. So we start off standing. So we go through posture, breath, pelvic tilt. We mobilise through all the joints. We get the muscles nicely warmed up through a dynamic warm-up, but it's all controlled and it's slow and steady. And then we go through a really small, short balance section, which is something that I personally like to bring in, just because balance really helps to strengthen the joints, so the knees, hips, ankles. And then we'll do some roll downs, and then the rest of it is on the mat. So we go into the all fours position sometimes. We always do side lying. So side lying is a bit of a burner for the glutes. We do some stuff on our front, so we can work through the glutes and the back, and then the rest of it is on our back. So there's lots of different levels. Please do let me know if you have any questions. Make sure that you do complete your medical health questionnaire before you do go to a class. If you're doing this online, please do just send me an email after with any questions or any feedback. Or if you come into the studio, just approach me afterwards or send me an email if that's best for you. So what to wear for Pilates is something really comfortable. We generally do it in socks or bare feet. Bring a drink of water, but you shouldn't really get too hot or anything like that. It's just nice to have a few sips during the class. I think that's everything. So if you've got any questions, please do let me know, and I really hope you can start your Pilates journey with me very soon. Thank you.